Okay, we are back, and I've got all the pins out, so we're ready to lift off the top plate of the movement here. And it's going to go fairly easy. The escape wheel will probably fall out like that, because I'm doing this one-handed. So the top plate lifts off, and the count wheel stays with it. There's the escape wheel. There's the second wheel, the time side. It's sort of entangled with the great wheel because of the lantern pinions. So there's the time second wheel. There's the time great wheel with its rat's nest of a wire rope on there. Gosh. Here's the hour tube and the hour wheel. This spring right here is the friction that's needed so that you can turn the hands to set the time, because the rest of the time train won't turn. And then this is the lifting pin. It's just a piece of wire bent into an L that lifts the warning lever. There's the minute wheel and pinion. And over here on the strike side, we've got the fly with the warning pin. And the levers are tangled up a little bit here. There's the warning lever and the lifting lever all on one arbor. These are tangled up just a little bit here. So I'm doing this one-handed. So we have 3 levers on one arbor. We've got the count lever, the locking lever, and then the lifting lever that the warning lever lifts up on. Lay that there. And then the second arbor has the advancing pin there that advances the count wheel. Each revolution that this wheel makes is one blow to the gong. So there's the slot where the locking lever drops in. Whenever the count lever falls into a deep slot on the count wheel, the locking arm there will fall in this slot here and stop the motion of the striking train, just like what's going on up there. And then that pin there advances the count wheel one tooth at a time. Let's see if I can demonstrate that here. Sure, it wants to go in the hole quite right. There we go. No, you saw it once. Not quite going to work right if it all disassembled, is it? Oh well. And it's pretty dirty too. So that's all going to have to get cleaned up. And then we have the strike side great wheel with the lifting pins, and these lift the tail of the hammer here. And then there's a pin and a spring. You can take all this apart if you so desire to clean it. It's kind of nice to be able to do that. And this is the drum where the weight line gets wound up on. focus this here. And you can see how they've really cobbled that together there. So, very interesting. And then finally, you can get an idea just how dirty this clock really is. There's the hammer lever. And see if I can remove this before the seat board is removed. There we go. Just pull it out. Oh, that's pretty bad. That's gonna have to all get cleaned up. And then there's a spring here that's used to cause it to return. And then there's the back plate. Pretty simple. So, OG clock, not much to them, and then everything is driven by these weights here. And this clock has the same setup. It's got weights in there too. So that's just a newer version of this. It's probably 10, maybe 13 years newer than this is. So what I'll have to do is, I don't have any cleaning solution on hand. I'll have to, when I'm in town tomorrow, get some and clean this all up real good and get it ready where I can go back together with it and get all this horrid stuff off and put some I just used some cheap string on these that I got at Walmart. On that, it seems to have worked okay. For as much as the clock runs, it seems to be fine. Weights spend most of their time down at the bottom anyway. I only run this clock on the weekends, and at that, not every weekend. Got 8-day clocks to run all the time, so we'll do some future videos on putting this back together later on in the week or something. Look forward to seeing those come get this all done up. If you are new to clock repair, a weight-driven clock like this 30-hour OG clock is a good candidate. They're fairly simple to work on. They're quite plentiful. I got this one for under $100. I got this one for under $50. And if you want to spend more money and buy an 8-day OG clock, you can do that. You can pick up one of those for about $150 to $200. They're a little bit more complex. They've got an extra set of wheels on each train. Instead of these little 2.5 and 3 pound weights, they've got 8.5 pound weights, and so they require a little bit more fussiness and attention with the weight cords, making sure you use a good cord. But these clocks are pretty easy to work on. You don't have to worry about dealing with mainsprings with these, and they're quite forgiving. You can pick one up like this that has a little bit of wear but isn't really that bad, and not have to worry about doing bushing work. And American clock movements such as this are really pretty forgiving, and especially one that you're restoring for yourself, that you're only going to run occasionally. It's not worth the expense or trouble to go through and do bushing work on them. They'll run just fine. You don't have to have, 0.003 of clearance on those arbors where the pivots go in the plates. The tolerance on these isn't that great. The only thing I would suggest is to make sure that you check the depthing of the teeth in the pinions to where the wear isn't so excessive that they jam. That's the only issue. The other issue would be wear that it causes escapement problems, and these will take quite a bit of wear before escapement problems become an issue. And I think the teeth on this escape wheel are all real nice looking. Yeah, look at that. That's also takes a lot of the frustration out when doing a clock repair. And of course, if there are bent teeth, then you get a pair of pliers like these and you very carefully straighten the tips out. I've done that a few times. It's nice to start with a escape wheel that's nice and straight like this one is. So, okay. Expect some future video where you see all these parts again, but nice and clean, and we'll put the clock back together.